I'm slipping.
Right, good for you.
My fault.
Old system,
ready?
I could hear it at our house, and I don't do it.
I call this meeting to order. Please silence all your electronic devices and stand for the invocation and pledge by Councilperson Veely.
Thank you, Council President. Please follow our Lord's Prayer, followed by the pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, you've all received a copy of the September financials in your council packet. Is there any questions or concerns in reference to those? Yes, Bob?
Yeah, I had a question on the general fund.
Okay. Revenues or expenses, sir?
Pardon?
Revenues or expenses?
General fund, City of Batavia, second page.
Okay.
Okay, it shows community development, and it says adjusted budget, $308,157.
Yes.
But it says original budget, $20,157.
Yeah, the original budget was for regular expenses, the other is for grant-related expenses.
Related.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we didn't sneak anything under the table there.
Yeah, I just wonder what I was missing.
Well, it's a pretty big discrepancy, so it would
Yeah,
jump out
absolutely.
at you.
Yeah, I caught up on that too. So.
Okay, so we're all in consensus to approve the financials? Okay. You've also received the October 2019 minutes. Any questions or concerns in reference to those? So we are in consensus to approve the October 2019 minutes. Okay, that happens. Communications?
Just one, there was a liquor license application submitted by Pizza 151 of Batavia, and there were no objections from the police department.
Any questions or concerns in reference to that? The next City Council conference meeting will be held Monday, November 25th, 2019, at 7 p.m. at City Hall, Council Boardroom, second floor, City Center. Also, a couple of things I just want to throw out at you. I sent you, one of you emailed me, I think Ms. Briggs, in reference to filling the part-time judge position. What's happening right now is the present election, due to the absentee ballots, are still being counted, so it's not certified yet. We're expecting that to happen next Tuesday. So when that happens, if it's okay with you, I'd like to direct the city manager to start the announcement process that we are seeking resumes and applications. And then after that happens, then we will meet with the individual people, and we'll do like we did the last time. So we'll interview them, and we'll be able to, as a council, state law requires us to pick that part-time person. So we'll go through the same process we've been using in the past. So if that's okay, I would like to, on Tuesday, when that election results is certified and it goes with the way it stands now, we're going to need to fill that position. If something changes, obviously that won't happen. Okay? Also, I sent you an email in reference to the mall steering committee. Councilperson Carras has volunteered to be on that committee, and he's kind of new, so I would get you right involved. And so, Marty, you want to explain a little bit about what that's all about?
Basically, we finally got all of the grant money together. We finally got the RFPs done. Labella has been chosen. We've had the original meeting. And what's going to be happening is a feasibility study. It will be open, obviously, for people. Any kind of input or suggestions that we need, we will definitely welcome those. So any members of council that have suggestions or concerns or opinions and stuff that need to share, please, by all means, do. what's going to be happening essentially is we are looking at this as a vehicle to be able to put ourselves in a position for some type of a developer to be able to come in and get ourselves in a situation where mall property is back in private hands. There are a lot of things that would have to be looked at. Matt's sitting back here so he can correct me, but we've got some hardscape like wiring, plumbing, walls, those types of things. Some ideas that came out of the BOA planning, those I'm sure that will be brought forward, and then we'll be taking a look at what's feasible, what we can do from all different angles and sides of this to be able to make it happen. We have a window to a completed report has to be out by the end of June of 2020 of next summer. So what we'll do is when we come into the first meeting, we'll have a type of an orientation, get everybody laid out, and LaBella Associates will make sure that everything's laid out very clearly, what's going on. We'll bring some maps in. Jeremy, if you would like, we'll be more than happy to share with you some of the background information on what's gone on before, and to catch you up to speed as much as you'd like before the first meeting. Our goal is to try to have a meeting before the end of the month. If we can't, then the first part of December. And then there would be stakeholder input as well as, and then obviously when we're done with everything, it has to come back to the council, or at least for you guys to be able to see it and look and see what we've done. So that's our goal. There's a lot between A and Z to get there in 6 months, and it won't be too many meetings. We're looking at probably once or twice a month for the most part, and then after that, we'll see what happens when we get closer to the end and crunch time. So.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Okay, agenda items. 123, 2019, resolution approving the restated water supply agreement with the County of Genesee. Mr. McGinnis. 124, 2019, second amended and restated lease with the county for water treatment facilities. Mr. Bykowski. 125, 2019, reinstated operation and maintenance agreement for the treatment plant. Mr. Veely. City Attorney's report.
Yes, Council President, members of council. In terms of matters, we're working on the same basic suite of matters we've been working on over the last several months, so nothing specific to report there. But by way of a teaser for the next conference meeting, there have been, as part of the New York State budget, significant criminal law discovery changes and bail reform changes that were passed back in June that are going to affect all municipalities in New York State. We've been working in conjunction with the police department, the Chief Highbush and the assistant chief, as well as consulting with the DA's office for Genesee County as to how those changes are going to be implemented. We've also been working in conjunction with city manager's office looking at the new DA agreement for next year because there's a renewal for that. And we anticipate having an opportunity, if you're kind enough to let us, that we would talk a little bit more detail about this at the conference meeting on the 25th about the broad strokes of what the changes are, how they're going to affect the city, and what we've been trying to do to address that as we move forward. So.
Good luck. Any questions? City Manager's report.
I did want to let the members of the council know that before the snow fell, there was some preliminary work done by Grove Construction. They had to start moving some things up on the roof, just trying to get some prep work ahead of time, likely next spring, actually working on the replacement. But they had been doing some preliminary work with their notice to proceed, which is out there. So, and just a reminder to all of you that we know we sent the fall leaves memos and stuff out. Well, obviously we switched to snow plows. I've received assurances that if it melts off enough, then they can get to the leaves before time's up. They'll do their best. But I did want to give a shout out to the Public Works for their timely changeover of their equipment from picking up leaves to moving snow. So.
Getting pretty good at that, changing direction in this weather.
Yes, for the second year in a row, well, this is my second year in a row that they've had to switch on short notice.
Yeah, it's
This never happened before you got here, Marty.
Well,
Hey, yeah, that's right.
although I will have to say that the last time that I moved down over to where I was at in Eunice, New Mexico, the mayor had told me it had never snowed there, and we got two 12-inch snowstorms the first year and a 2-footer the fourth year, so.
You're fired.
In all fairness, it happens when it goes smoothly like it appeared to have this last storm, no one notices it. But it's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes.
It is.
A lot of people scrambling, a lot of long hours and scheduling and everything, and they got it down to a science. They do a great job. And that's why it's so seamless and you hardly even notice it. But
Yeah, they did a great job.
so thank you for your work. Anything else?
No.
Committee reports?
Very quick reminder for bid that Saturday, December 2nd is the Christmas in the City from 2 to 6, and I would like to see a lot of council members and their families there. Thank you.
December 7th, you said?
Did I say December 6th? Don't go on December 6th, that would be a reaction. It's on December 7th from 2 to 6.
Okay. Anything else? I guess you met the crime, okay, Bob, did you?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that the Batavia High School had a gathering last Friday for Veterans Day. They did a stellar job. They had all us veterans sitting in the first 3 rows. They had music. I mean, Jane Haggett did a super job. They had student speakers, guest speakers, and then they had a reception afterwards. But it's something new they're trying. They want to make it an annual tradition. But I'd just like to recognize them for all their efforts. And like I said, it was just super, and got to meet some old friends and new friends, and looking forward to next year.
Good.
And back to your point, Council President, on the crime task force, thank you for reminding me, because I have a feeling I'd have had a rock thrown over here otherwise. The crime task force, the last meeting went very well. We appreciate our council members that attended. We got a good education on some of the new laws that actually have come down affecting landlords and the timelines that and the processes, additional processes they now have to go through when they're dealing with eviction of problem tenants. And in addition, we went through a series of potential strategies, and we've decided on those that we're going to go forward and explore in more detail. Those will be coming up at the December 3rd meeting, and we will definitely be going over those. Some may require resources, some may not. We appreciate the help of the police department, the assistant city manager, and the county actually has been very helpful in working with us on this as well. So we're going to continue moving along. We're starting to hone down in on some strategies and so I'm feeling good about the direction that it's going right now.
Good. And how does the council representation, everything look good for you guys?
Outstanding, yes. Very good.
Okay.
Came up with some good ideas.
We just talked briefly before the meeting, the Deer Task Force or Deer Committee is being formed as we speak. We got a lot of responses for that.
We've gotten, I think, up to 9 applications so far for positions on that committee, and those have been forwarded for review, and we'll be going over those. And hopefully, if it's okay, I'll get with Ms. Spacino and Ms. Briggs, and we'll figure out what we're going to have recommendation for you for the next meeting on the 25th. So.
Okay, so you guys are good? Okay.
Just a follow-up on that as well. I received an email from Mr. Nephew over on State Street this week. He now has 4 absolutely gorgeous bucks in his backyard. One of them actually he said 30 feet from his back door, just laid right down and wouldn't even move. And I mean, actually 6 8-point bucks, 4 of them in his backyard right now. So I said one of those racks would look good on your living wall. My wife will love this.
Well, that's, it's up to the committee to decide, and it's whose property that is. I mean, it's not city property, so we have to address how that's going to
back
be
behind
handled.
there,
And,
right.
and as you bring that up, we have an idea who the landowner is.
Yes, not only that, but the DEC is going to be coming, remember?
Right. So I asked Marty, and if it's okay with you, again, because I wrote myself some notes here, because I don't do anything without council approval. I asked them to possibly reach out to the owner of that land and maybe invite them so they can listen to DEC and see if they're aware of that the deer are living there and that there's kind of a population issue there. Maybe they're not even aware of it, and maybe they can help us in some way.
Yes,
So,
I've reached out with a phone call this afternoon, received an answering machine, left what I thought was a good message, and we'll keep reaching out until we
yeah,
make
so,
contact.
I mean, it's private property, so maybe we can assist the landowner with some help with this, maybe, you know. It's not city-owned property, so we really
Right.
can't do
And there's
anything.
actually 2 or 3 property owners back there. One of them has a fairly sizable piece, so.
Right, and that's the one we're trying to locate first. So we're going to try to reach out to them, invite them in the meantime, and then we'll get the committee formed at the same time. And so that's kind of all happening at the same time, if that's all right. I mean, I don't like directing resources as an individual. We're supposed to do it as a group. So I like to bring it to the meeting. If you ever need anything, something like that, just let me know. We'll put it on the conference agenda. We'll talk about it. And then as a group, we'll direct the city manager to follow up on stuff. It makes it easier that way. Okay? Anything else? Any other committee reports? Okay, public comments. Okay. All speakers should have signed up in advance with the city clerk. Please use the podium in front of us. Please state your name and address before beginning your statement. You'll be limited to 5 minutes. Please address your comments to the chair, that would be myself. Council will not engage in debate with the speaker. On your first bell, you have 30 seconds left. Please wrap it up, because on your second bell, I'm going to have to stop you.
Robert Cook?
Again, my name is Robert Cook, 172 Ross Street here in Batavia. I'll start by saying this is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, so if you could be patient with me, I definitely appreciate it. I've never been the squeaky wheel in my life. However, by being here this evening, I'm hoping to get a little bit of grease. It's necessary for us to be here. Good evening, council members. Again, my name is Robert Cook. My family and I recently purchased 172 Ross Street this past June. Immediately, we realized our neighbors at 174 Ross were going to be problematic. Within our first 5 months of being there, we've been subjected to daily displays of public intoxication, vulgar language, verbal confrontations, yelling. We've witnessed a fistfight, obvious but difficult to prove drug behavior. It's been brought to my attention that there's actually been over 24 police dispatches to that property since 2014. The tenants of this property have not only impacted the comfort level we have in our own home, but made it so my children aren't comfortable sitting on their front porch or playing in their front yard. They're also very apprehensive about staying home alone some days. I'm in management, I work out of town. You know, it's not uncommon for me to work a 50, 55-hour work week, and you know, my 2 older children are home alone quite often, and it's difficult for them sometimes. I took it upon myself to write a letter to the property owner, Duane Preston, detailing our experiences and hoping he would clean up this property. As I've passed out, I brought with me a copy of his letter and his condescending response for all of you to review. Once I realized Mr. Preston would not be helped, I reached out to both Patty Pacino and Martin Moore, hoping for compassion and help. Despite an initial response leaving me hopeful, and I understand both of you are extremely busy when I say this, you know, I haven't received any follow-up, I haven't really seen any action, so I'm kind of left feeling hopeless at the moment. I'm here today humbly asking for guidance and hopefully resolve. I also hope to encourage dialogue between council members going forward for the need regarding a systemic approach to holding landlords accountable for their tenants' behaviors and an obligation for action when becoming a valid nuisance to neighboring homeowners. Thank you for your time, and I eagerly anticipate any guidance or suggestions any of you would be able to give me regarding the matter.
Hey, just have a seat. We'll discuss it. And
Thank you very much.
anyone else?
No one else signed up. We do have the letter here. I don't know if you want me to read that out loud.
The letter from Mr. Preston?
No, the letter from Donna Barrett.
Do we
Or I
know?
can just include.
Yeah, include it in the minutes, and we've all received a copy of it, and then,
Okay.
I mean, we don't normally read letters like that, but I understand the situation there. That can be forwarded to the people, or the city staff that's working on the parking problem there, and take that into consideration. I believe they live right there around the corner there.
There's no other public comments.
Okay, thank you. Ross Street?
I think one of the things that I can suggest, in fact, landlords, and I should have actually called and let you know that we were talking about landlords at the last crime task force meeting, because that was front and center. But we are dealing with that issue, trying to deal with that head-on. Some of them obviously can be communicated with and are willing to try to help. Some of them I know have significant issues that they have to deal with, the landlords do, in dealing with trying to get tenants out. But I think the point is well taken. I think good communication amongst the neighbors. There was a discussion about, neighborhoods coming together. I actually have received an outreach from at least two other individuals over on Ross Street about the suggestion of getting a neighborhood group together, and I think that's a very outstanding idea. So if you're interested, we'll definitely keep you in the communication loop on that, and we'll keep you as council in communication there. I think there's also another one over there on the corner. I think it was over by Washington Street, Lewis Avenue, in that area. There's some interest in some type of a group over there as well. And I know there's been some communication over on the Watson Street over in that area. So we've got 3 locations now that are showing interest in that. And that may be one of the things we know when talking with the Summit Street representatives of the Summit Street group, that they find that their ability to communicate as a group with the landlords in their neighborhoods has proven to be extremely effective. So, every neighborhood is different, obviously, but I think there may be some ideas and some suggestions at least to bring forward, hopefully to help him, help them climb out of the box that they're in relationship into this situation.
Have we reached out to this landlord at all?
I have not personally reached out to him, no, but I've got a note right down here. So.
And I know with our crime task force, we've been talking about bringing in some landlords too.
Yes.
Not just explaining about the new laws and stuff, but maybe talking to them too about
Yes.
whatever tenants they have in there, that they can maybe work something, that they could talk to the tenants and say, listen, you become a disturbance to the street and so forth, and just work something out. And okay.
Yeah.
I just wondered if we were reaching out to this landlord. Okay.
Have not yet.
Okay.
Okay. And I have spoken with the police chief, who said they have been there a number of times. Can't pin anything directly yet, which is, of course, what you're going to have to do.
Patty, at one time on South Spruce Street, we had our officers sitting there almost 24/7, and it stopped
Did it
all
stop
the
it?
activity. So obviously, you haven't contacted the owner, but it's not the owner. Obviously, it's a tenant. So if we can do something like that, there's got to be some violations here that, too much noise, drinking, the vulgar language, something that you could start arresting them, because this is ridiculous, 24 times.
Chief, could you help me out here?
Yeah, I can tell you that we have gone there a number of times, as mentioned. Unfortunately, the times that we are there, we either don't have a complainant to go on paper, which I know is difficult for a lot of residents in the area, or the issue is not happening when the officers arrive. So I did speak with Mr. Cook on the phone, explained to him the process and what we would do in response, and gave him some tips and tricks, so to speak, that he can follow. We certainly will reach out to Mr. Preston on the landlord side of things. I'll get with the city manager and discuss how we approach that. But, that being said, we obviously cannot put a car down there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Attention to it, something.
Yeah, we'll have to do something.
We certainly
What
are
the hell?
aware of the property, and we have increased our presence over there.
Mr. Bekowski?
Yeah, I know Mr. Preston. I know he's a pretty darn good landlord overall in the city. I really haven't heard of any problems before this. And I'm just curious, Matt, what's your record?
Saying a lot of names.
Right.
Mr. Preston is certainly a significant landlord in this city, and from the code enforcement side, he is not someone who requires quite a bit of the inspection department's time as far as code enforcement, building, land issues.
Right.
That is completely, we don't deal with the people at all, but as far as upkeep, tall grass, things like that, it is typically not an issue with Mr. Preston's property. But again, we don't deal with the people.
Yeah, it's too bad this incident's occurring, and with Mr. Cook here, and I really think it's a police matter.
It is.
Reading this letter, it looks like Mr. Preston doesn't really give a crap about Mr. Cook.
Yeah.
If you read the
Absolutely,
letter,
absolutely.
It's a shame, it's a disgrace.
Yeah,
And
it's-
he should look out for his neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's terrible.
Just a thought, some of the things that have worked in the past is not just one approach, a multifaceted approach, meaning you have your police involvement,
That's
you get your
right.
neighborhood watch going on, safety in numbers, you got other neighbors, you're not just by yourself when you file a complaint, you have several neighbors willing to stand up and say, look, we're together in this and we're not liking this property, okay? That's helpful. Secondly, if these people are in any type of public assistance, they have to behave themselves. And if they're not behaving themselves, the public assistance could be in jeopardy. So I suggest we talk to, find out who they are, and this is a private matter, this is not for us to discuss publicly, but the police can look into this, they can contact HUD, they can contact social services. If these people are on public assistance, which they may or may not be, that's an avenue where they can be in jeopardy of losing that apartment and they will be removed. And now that is money, and that affects the landlord, and it affects them for not having a house because they're not behaving. So that's where the money is, where the money meets the road there, is that kind of thing where if you're going to lose your assistance because you're not behaving, then obviously you got money for intoxicating beverages and drugs, you're not spending it on food and clothing, this is where they can step in. So, I mean, I suggest that route be taken, at least on this matter, continue on with the neighborhood improvement, or their neighborhood watch. And again, that's helpful when you're not by yourself and the police are arrived, or if you're not home and your neighbor's calling and you support each other, it makes a big difference.
It
So-
does. And one other thing that came out in the Crime Task Force meeting, I've actually joined it. If anybody has seen the Nextdoor app that's been going around, a number of, I think we're up into, going up into the hundreds of Batavia residents now that are signed up on the app. And so when something's going on around in town, people post it up there, and that's another way. For example, if the weather's bad and you want to go out, you see some suspicious activity, it's a nice, easy way to be. I'm not promoting that necessarily as a product, but I'm just telling you that it's something that's gone around and it's been very useful.
Well, and it's more important to contact the police and have them
Yes,
respond than it
that's
is
right.
to
And that is one of the
text your app and tell everybody to watch out for Ross
That's one of
Street.
the nice things that happened with an incident just fairly recently, that they indicated, say, hey, you know what, we let the police know about this, but hey, people in Batavia, we want you to know that this is going on, so.
Right. I usually just check the Batavian or the Daily News online, and they're usually right on it, but.
Isn't repeat public intoxication, isn't it something that, I mean, in the old days, we used to deal with it.
It's not the old days anymore. There's no more public
Drugs now.
intoxication, disorderly conduct's
Drugs
totally different,
intoxication.
harassment's totally different. It's different than it was years ago, yes.
No, we're supposed to be friendly and take them out to lunch and buy
Well,
them cake.
You know, this, to get back on the topic, I think the way to do this is let the police handle it.
That's right.
And through the police,
That's
through
right.
the other agencies, and work on this together between parole, probation, social services, HUD.
That's right.
They're all in this together. There may be
That's
people on
right.
probation there. There might be juveniles involved. You got a lot of areas that we can look into this.
And the landlord, too, there's responsibility there,
The
too.
landlord is the other avenue to it, but again,
Yeah.
they're not responsible to go down there and physically get involved with people.
No,
This guy's paying, bought a house and paying taxes,
I
and
get
this
it.
guy's not doing nothing about it.
I get it,
I mean,
but
come on,
Yeah,
I think it's a police matter, and I think that's the way to
it's
handle it.
ridiculous.
I know the landlord
All
has
right.
to be held accountable.
Any other questions or concerns on this?
No.
Okay. Any unfinished business?
Yes.
Go ahead.
People have been asking me about when the meetings are televised, and they are televised at 9 a.m. on Wednesday mornings and Friday evening at 8 p.m. Also, I want to thank Matt Worth because I called him concerning the marquee over by the theater, and they took down some branches, and now you can see it a lot better. And if that doesn't solve it, we'll take some more down next year. Thank you.
Anything else? Resolution 123, 2019, Mr. McGinnis.
Thank you, Council President. I move a resolution approving a second amended and restated water supply agreement with the County of Genesee.
Seconded. Ms. Christian. Any comments or concerns?
Was this what we were discussing, Marty, what you mentioned about being contingent on the sales tax?
Being what?
Yeah, we've had some discussion over here, and it looks like we've got a pretty good faith effort with the law passed and signed by the governor, so we're pretty comfortable with going ahead and approving the resolution.
I mean, at this point, it's a delicate situation involving the county trying to time this right, so I think we should stay on our path, and I mean, that's advice from council.
I think we're okay.
Is to stay on the path, and this is now state law, so it's just a matter of the comptroller going through the.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yes, and talking to the comptroller's office attorneys, they indicated that they would basically defer to the legislation. And once the legislation was passed authorizing a 40-year sales tax agreement between the city and the county, they seemed to be in a position where that was the issue they were looking for, to have the authority to approve the long-term 40-year agreement. So the sales tax agreement's been signed by both entities, and it's up there for review. So at this point, we don't anticipate any other issue at that stage.
So we'll move forward. So it's probably better to move forward on it than it is to try to make anything contingent at this point, than what you're saying.
Suggestion.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a little sidebar earlier, and it kind of changed. It was a dynamic situation. It changed. So we'll move forward with that. Any other questions or concerns on that? Can you call the roll, please?
Councilperson McGinnis,
Yes, yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Karas,
Yes.
Bayakowski.
Yes.
Jankowski.
Yes.
Veely,
Yes.
Pacino,
Yes.
Finale.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 124, 2019, Mr. Bykowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move a resolution approving a second amended and restated lease with the County of Genesee for water treatment facilities.
Seconded by Mr. Veely. Any questions or concerns? Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilperson Bayakowski.
Yes.
Jankowski.
Yes.
Veely,
Yes.
Pacino,
Yes.
Finale,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes, yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Karas.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 125, 2019, Mr. Veely.
Thank you, Council President. I move a resolution approving a second amended and restated operation and maintenance agreement for the water treatment plant.
Ms. Pacino seconds. Any questions or concerns? Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Veely,
Yes.
Pacino,
Yes.
Finale,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes,
Briggs,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Karas,
Yes.
Bayakowski.
Yes.
Jankowski.
Yes.
Mr. President, I'd just like to thank all the people that have worked so hard on all of this, and it's been a long time coming, very delicate negotiation. It's in the best interests of both parties. Big money and improvements moving forward. And, you know, everybody's nervous. I've seen some negative things about this, but I think this is what's going to be best for the community. And I know you have a lot of work into this, committee meetings, meeting with the county.
Well, and if you think about it, if the original 40-year deal had taken place 20 years ago, we would have 20 more years left in that deal. We wouldn't have had to come back to the table. So I think this is going to prevent that from happening again. And again, both parties, if there is an emergency or something happens, both parties can always get back together, and the county is in their best interest to keep us and them on the same plane. So I don't see why we wouldn't work something out, even before 40 years if it was necessary, so.
Absolutely. So it's good that we're moving forward with this.
Anything else? Take us into executive session.
Whereas Article 7, Section 105(1)H of the Public Officers Law permits the legislative body of the municipality to enter into executive session to discuss the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property, or the proposed acquisition of securities or sale or exchange of securities held by such a public body, but only when publicity would substantially affect the value thereof. Whereas Article 7, Section 105(1)E of the Public Officers Law permits the legislative body of a municipality to enter into executive session to discuss collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, and whereas Article 7, Section 105(1)(f) of the Public Officers Law permits the legislative body of a municipality to enter into executive session to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. Therefore, let it be resolved by the Council of the City of Batavia that upon approval of this motion, the City Council does hereby enter into executive session.
Seconded by Mr. McGinnis. Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Pacino?
Yes.
Canali?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Christian?
Yes.
Karas? Bayakowski?
Yes.
Jankowski?
Yes.
Veely?
Yes.
We're now in executive session.
I don't know. I don't care.
Can't we just say I move to go?